Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. Guys, I know it's been a few days, but we've had some pretty nasty weather in here, and we finally got some rain that we've been needing. It's just a little bit too little too late, but it'll at least make getting stakes in the ground a little easier, I hope. Um, kind of out here doing a little scouting today. Gonna make a quick little video of it. Not gonna take very long, but I thought I'd at least get something out for you. Um, kind of at a really good little location here for coyotes. I'll flip this camera around and let y'all have a look here. All right, guys. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but you can see the trail that the coon are using right here. It's coming up right through here and going down off towards that culvert. They're coming up over the road instead of going through it. But when you come down this way a little ways, you can see, gosh darn, about to trip off in that ditch. You can see that swoop, that duck under right there coming through the fence. That's coyotes, and you can tell why. I mean, we've got a really good little draw going down through here, headed off to that timber ditch full of cow pasture here. I snare coyotes here every year. It changes though. Some years it's up this way, and then some years the crawl under is actually down in the ditch itself. But it looks like this year they're coming up high and crossing and going through. So anyway, that's a pretty good little location right there. Let's go. Let's head on down the road here and we'll look at some more. And guys, I haven't been out and done a whole lot of pre-staking yet because we have been so dry. The trails are showing. That's not the problem. The problem is though, I don't know about our coon population. As dry as it's been, we've been in drought the last 3 years, and when you get a hot, dry year, and especially we're going on our third one, that distemper tends to run pretty wild through the coon. I'm going to hope and pray that it didn't, but I kind of wanted to wait because I knew we had this rain coming, and I want to see if I can see tracks in them trails before I go out here and string a bunch of steel from nothing. So that's why I've kind of held off pre-staking anything. All right, guys, you can see that trail coming right between the corner post and the brace post there. It's swooped underneath the fence there. That's coyote crossing. I mean, I'll take a few big coon off this trail, but for the most part, it's coyotes and red fox that come through here. I set this every year. It's just a good one for me. Been here for a long time. Uh, there's no corn over on the other side of the road this time, so I know if there are coon using it, they're going to be great big ones because it's more than likely a summertime trail because they've already taken the beans out, so there's nothing left over there for them now. Not saying the coon won't work a pick bean field, but there's just not a whole lot of anything left out there for them. So anyway, yeah, that's a hell of a good trail there. All right, I don't know if you can see that hole in that woven wire fence right there, and then see the trail coming out of it. I'll guarantee you, every coyote in the country knows that hole in that woven wire is right there. So that'll be a good one there too later on to hang snares in for coyotes. All right, guys. This is that same fence line that we've been traveling down. You can see how the woven wire's pushed up at the bottom. That's a crawl under, and you can see the trail coming out from underneath there too. I mean, you can't miss those guys. And again, just a really nice same cow pasture. We're just on the other side of the creek this time. It's a perfect location. You can't pass those up. I'm not going to go out of my way to catch coyotes this time just because there's no money in them. But I'm sure not going to drive by them either. Not when I have the opportunity to catch them. I'm not about to drive past them. There's another one, guys. This is that same fence line again. They cross through here all the time, every year. Timber, get out of the way. Anyway, you can see the woven wire's been pushed up at the bottom. You can see the faint trail coming out from underneath it. That's coyote and red fox crossing all day long. Can't pass them things up, guys. They're coming right across it instead of going clear up. Let me try to swing this camera around without making y'all dizzy and sick. Instead of going up there to the culvert to cross, they're cutting across right there and coming through. So You got to pay attention. You got to look at them places, guys. Like I said, you can't just drive by them. Dadgum, guys, I didn't go 20 yards down the road from that last one, and there's this one. So you can see again the woven wires, they're going underneath it, and you can see that faint trail coming through where them fox and them coyote are crossing right there. I'll burn up a dozen snares just on this one little short stretch of fence that ain't more than a mile long. Well, this is terrible. I mean, I've got some coon sign down there, some droppings. But generally speaking, this little creek right here is just plumb full. I mean, it's one of those that you step off in it very far and you're going to float your hat generally. But you can see it's been reduced to just a couple of little puddles, and that's about it. This is terrible. This is the other side of it, and you can see we've got a little puddle of water over here. And I can see several coon tracks from up here. And I know they're fresh because, like I said, we've had 4 or 5 days of rain here just recently. So I know they're fresh tracks. So that's positive sign there. That's a good deal. I'm glad to see that. So about 4 fish steaks in here, and a couple of nights we'll have them pretty well cleaned out. All right, guys, this little ditch here is always dry at this time of the year. But it's always usually got a coon trail running down through the middle of it. But I'm not seeing a whole lot this time. But it could be the fact, too, since there's no water here. I've got a new dozer pile here that's not much more than maybe a year old at the most. And I got standing corn right there. So they could be going out the back side of this thing, of this dozer pile, and going right to the corn and then coming right back. But it's worth a set or two. I mean, I'll poke a couple in there just to try it and see what happens. So let's go see what else. Pretty good coon trail coming right there by that stop ahead sign and coming out. I don't see much for tracks here in the road, but I'm not so sure that they didn't just grade this thing too. But in a day or two, I'll take another look at it. But that's a pretty good trail right there. Another decent trail there coming down to this little culvert right here, and then there's another little faint one that runs up right there as well. So it's darn sure worth getting out and taking a look at in a few days and just make sure that there are some tracks in it and some coons using it. So anyway, we'll go down the road. All right, guys, I'm not sure how well it's going to show up here in the camera, but there's a little faint trail that just goes, goes right through there and ducks underneath a woven wire fence right there. So my little coyote trail that I used to set right up there is not there this time. For some reason, it's not showing up. So, but anyway, yeah, there's a little trail coming through there that more than likely we'll get a snare put in it and hopefully take a coyote or a cat or a red fox or something from it. All right, guys, there's a pretty decent little trail. We're on that same stretch of road, just down from where we just filmed. That's a pretty good little trail right there to take a pretty good sized coon out of, or maybe even a coyote or a cat. And then usually down in that low spot right there is where the coyotes come through a lot. Don't know what it looks like this time for sure, but it always has been good, but you never know from one year to the next. But usually right through there is where they come through. So let's keep going. There's a funny story about this trail here. Oh, it's been probably 8-10 years ago, I guess. I had a pair of 220s set in this trail and come by here one morning and my traps were gone, both of them. And boy, I'm telling you, I got instantly pissed. And could see the buggy tracks where the Amish had been through, but you know, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything. But I had to come by here every day, and every day I'd drive by here, I'd look over there and boy, just get madder every time I did it, you know. Well, about 3 days went by and I happened to look over there that one morning and son of a gun, there laid both of my 220 conibears. Now, of course, the coons weren't with them, but the conibears were back anyway. And my guess is that if an Amish took them, The old man probably found them, and I'll bet there were some boys that had some pretty sore backs by the time that deal was over with. But I got my traps back anyway. So this little place always reminds me of that little story every time. And you can see the trail's still there this time. It's not real great, but it's not terrible either. Looks a lot more like a deer trail this time than it does a coon trail, but you never know. All right, so when I first pulled up here, I thought this was a coon trail when I was looking at it. And I'm still sure that there's probably coon using it, but we'll slip across the road here and I'll show you something else. Coyote droppings, where they've been coming through here too. Timber's sniffing them out there doing her thing. Let's see if she'll mark them right quick. But yeah, I'm sure there's coon using that, but no, I'm pretty well sure there's a coyote using it too. Or he did at one time anyway. The droppings look fairly old, but that doesn't mean that he won't come back through. So, like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way to catch coyotes, but I'm sure not going to drive by them either. So, anyway, we'll go look at some more stuff.